This is how it sounds when you own the Altissimo register. At the beginning of 2025, I had this idea of expanding my register. I wanted to do exactly as them. So getting into having more range on the saxophone. And this year I literally went from playing like this in normal register to be able to play this. This was not the only thing that happened. My tone got also that much stronger, more clear and more direct. Because when I had to practice these high tones, I had to push more. I had to really focus my energy into the sound of the tone to get these overtones and these Altissimo register tones out. And this is really the sound I dreamt of. Another unseen but totally amazing benefit that came out of playing these Altissimo register tones was being able to play the tones and actually put my fingers on where that tone is, not only in the high register, but all over the horn. Let's get started, but let's start where I started. Really slow and really low. And the first high tone on the saxophone is the F sharp. And some saxophones actually have an F sharp key and some don't. It's very much about what saxophone you are playing. To get out the high tones, I can only recommend you to play overtones. Let's get into this. When we are playing overtones, the sound you produce is very much dependent on the sound you hear. And we can't just push the buttons of the saxophone because you're only gripping that one tone, the low note, no just pushing buttons. Hearing these overtones take a bit of time because you really have to get used to what do you hear, and that sound has to come out of the horn. When you train the overtones, you really have to focus on a strong airstream and your throat position and your embouchure, because else the tones really do not come out. And when you find this magic trick, it's not magic, but it took me a while to find out, then the overtones are pretty okay to play. Take some time to work this out, and there is no shortcut, just try out. Though there is a little neat trick that might help you, and that's playing the tone you want to hear before you play it as an overtone. So playing the C, then I'm playing the middle C, then I'm playing the overtone C, the middle G, the overtone G, and the C high, and then the low C high. Warning, there might be some tones on your saxophone that's difficult or almost impossible to get out. Take your time doing this. Your mouth and your throat and your airstream has to get used to this pressure you put on it. And it just takes time to develop these muscles. When you do your daily practice, some scales or some arpeggios or a tune, you should add the high tones into this. You should put the Altissimo register, the overtones or this into your daily practice. So when you play an exercise, for example like this, the major scale up and down, put it up an octave and play it till the top note you have. But play it really slow that you can finger these notes up there, that you get the hang of, oh, this is how they sound and this is how your fingers move. And you can basically do this with any exercise you play. This is an arpeggio exercise. Just play it up high, see what happens. So I said play it slow. Your fingers need to find out, but your hearing also needs to find out what you're playing. You need to hear these tones before they actually come right out. So with the overtones of the B, you can reach the high F sharp. And here you can see how I play my Altissimo F sharp. And this Altissimo fingering chart is with the PDF on this lesson on Patreon. So playing this F sharp will be the first Altissimo tone you want to play. Again, playing these overtones helps you so much when you're trying the lowest Altissimo register tones. Because your breathing will be so strong, your embouchure will be strong, and your throat position will know exactly where you want to put these tones. Another great exercise is playing the octave. So if you have the lower F sharp, you have the middle F sharp, and then you play the Altissimo F sharp. You can compare the sounds because they have to sound the same except the octave. And this really helps you tuning of the Altissimo tones. So compare the octaves to each other and find out how they sound. The last high tone I would recommend you to play as an overtone is the G. Of course, you can play much higher. But in my experience, after the G, the overtones becomes kind of unstable and out of tune. With the high F sharp and the high G, the Altissimo really starts. So this is the Altissimo G fingering that works for me. Check the chart in the Patreon PDF. A thing, you see that the F sharp and the G are lying very close to each other in my fingering chart. This is how I chose to play these, because there are a lot of charts out there showing Altissimo register. And you have to pick the ones you like the most, the ones that fits your need, the ones that fit your saxophone, because it's very individual what works for you. You can find this fingering chart in the PDF on Patreon and compare it to your own Altissimo fingering. See if there's anything better or worse. So now we have the G. Use the same octave exercise as with the F sharp. Play the low octave G, the middle octave G and the high Altissimo register G and switch between these to get a good tuning of the high G. Because you have so much focus on the sound and how to produce the sound, the Altissimo register is the best sound exercise ever. I've never seen anything like it. Your sound becomes so much stronger because you need your breathing, you need your throat position and your embouchure needs to work completely tight together. So in this stadium of the exercises, remember to practice your exercises up in the Altissimo register. And when you play this scale, the G major scale, you have the F sharp and the G next to each other. If you want to move this a little bit faster, then you need the fingering, the Altissimo fingerings, to be next to each other and be fast. And that means you need to remember what these tones are, because they're not the common tones you have on the normal register of the saxophone. You really need new fingerings. We get into this high register and it's completely new fingerings. We need to remember the sound of the tone, we need to remember the fingering, and we need to remember what tone it is. So it's not just a button that we push, it's literally a sound we play. And this is why the Altissimo register also is the best ear training ever. Because when we get into the unknown Altissimo register, we need to use our ears much more. Said simply, you cannot play the Altissimo register without hearing these tones first. As I just said, play the Altissimo for great ear training. A really fun exercise is to play themes of standard tunes or the tunes you know, but play them up in the Altissimo register. Play them to the highest note you know. For example, take the A train to the high F sharp. Because what happens is, you know the tune, so you know the sound already. You do not need to look for the sound. You know how that F sharp sounds up there. So when you play it low, you have a reference, then you play it up high. Why not take the A train a half step up? That means you are hitting that high G we just practiced. And in this way, you can train your Altissimo sounds by just listening to great themes and play them up high. Another cool trick I really benefited a lot from was playing licks. So making licks and playing licks that are just hitting these high Altissimo register tones. In this lick I'm playing the high F sharp, then I octavate it, and now I play the high Altissimo F sharp. In the PDF of Patreon I have added the fingering chart for the Altissimo register I use. I have also added lots of melodies that are hitting these high tones. And of course I made lots of licks that are easy to put up an octave. In this way you can slowly work your way up higher and get into this Altissimo register playing. Meet me on Patreon. I would love to help you getting this out of your horn, or any other musical questions you have, ask them on Patreon. Dig deeper. The link to Patreon is just below in the description. Three of the greats, Mark Turner, Sonny Rollins and Joe Henderson, all use these amazing arpeggios. But what we have to notice is how Mark Turner uses the Altissimo register extremely much. Check out this video, play music, have fun.